So, I know, Anne, you ride obviously lots of horses every day, and you were saying to me, you just wanted me to check the fit of your helmet.
Right.
Okay, all right. So, first of all, I mean, I know your size, but when I'm doing this, I always like to check somebody's head size. When you go into a shop, they don't always measure you. Okay, so you just take your hat off, the helmet off for me. And what I'm going to do is just going to measure around just to see whether all this teaching you're doing is to make your head grow and it might need to go up a size. Okay, all right, well that's good, yes. So let me just check. Oh yeah, that's perfect, it should. Okay, so you just want to put that on for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move the helmet, okay, on the head, because what we're trying to do is we want the helmet to grip. We want to stay in place during the fall, right? That's the worst thing, is the helmet can change in place. So often people talk about when you put the helmet on, especially when it's new, you get this sort of suction, it's sort of the air moving on the outside. So I'm just going to get a feel for it. Okay. So it feels to me we're probably in that relaxed fit stage. Okay. So it's almost like a pair of, it's feeling probably a little like a pair of slippers that's been worn nice and warm and comfy and things like that. And what I want to do is I'm going to try and check. So I'm doing it without the harness. I'm going to check to see how much movement. Okay. And you can see there that if you fell on that, you might find that the helmet may fall down over the eyes and potentially expose the back of the head. Right, so you might fall and the horse might come and clip you in the back of the head, and that's obviously a bad situation. Now, the helmets go up in hat sizes of 1/8 of an inch. So 7, 7/1/8, 7 1/4. And what that is, the hat size is the average diameter of your head. So a difference between a hat size is 1/16 of an inch here and 1/16 of an inch here. And just to kind of put that as a visual, if I take this tape is 1/8 of an inch thick. So if I put this tape all the way around the inside of the helmet, it would reduce it by 2 hat sizes. So you can see this is quite a precision fit. And of course, as you get hot and you sweat, the foam inside can start to actually break down and settle down. It's a little bit like a pair of shoes. When you start off, if you buy the nice, loose, easy ones, you start slipping around with them and they cause you problems. So the thing with a helmet is that you need to have it whereby it's a snug, firm fit. You know, you're going to put it on, you're going to say, oh, okay, this is not something I could ride. You know, I couldn't go and do an 8-hour ride in this. But it's the same with shoes and boots. You wouldn't put new boots on and go and do a long hack out. You'd want to break them in. It's the same with the helmet. Okay. So what we've done, we've probably got a little bit of movement there. And if you go to one of the trained helmet retail specialists, they can actually use this tape to just snug up the helmet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of this, and we're just going to put this into the back of the helmet. Okay, sorry, I should give you a baseball cap in between times. Little curtains behind. So I've just snugged this up by about 1/16 of an inch on the way back. You can now feel, when I'm putting it on, immediately I'm starting to feel a little bit of resistance. Almost I can feel like the air rushing back out again. And now if I get it and try and tilt it, okay, the helmet's now locked on. Okay. Because one of the ways that helmets are designed is that a lot of us have a bump at the back of the head here. And what happens is the helmet's gripping underneath that bump. And that's what stops the helmet falling forwards. And if that padding, as we keep putting it over that bump, every time we put it on, we stretch it over that bump. And so therefore it can actually break down. And so therefore, if the thing's not tight fit at the back, it can actually fall forwards as we go and perform. Okay, so that's one way that we can do that. But we're going to have a look at a new one and see how that one This is your lucky 2012 helmet, I think, isn't it?
Cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
All right, okay. Okay, so again, you've got that snug fit. And the thing about it is that we want to get the helmet to actually start to change the shape. And the thing is, we actually build into it what we call a microfit system. And the microfit system is a way whereby the inside shell and the outside shell will actually move against each other, which allows the helmet to change shape slightly. And what we can do is, so where's the tightest for you at the moment? And is it a bit tighter in the front? Or
Maybe slightly in the front.
yeah,
Very
okay.
slightly.
Yeah, okay. So what we can do, oops, we're really doing your hair now. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm just going to adjust the microfit system. And this is what sometimes happens, is when the helmet's not quite the right shape, we actually find that the helmet's just touching in one place, and then people wear it, and then they find it actually feels like the helmet's stretched. And what's happened is the helmet, as you wear it, the helmet's constantly trying to say, okay, how can I be better? Okay, sounds like somebody who's attended your clinics. How can I be better? Yeah. And so therefore it adjusts, and so therefore as it adjusts to that shape, you then find that the helmet becomes a little bit looser, and it appears that it's stretched. But in fact, all that the helmet's trying to do is to become a little bit better. Okay. So how's that feel?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. It's amazing the difference that we're really talking about a very, very small difference, like almost a business card thickness can be all the difference between pain and comfort. And sometimes what that can be for a new rider is like, oh, it feels like it's going to be that headache, you know, because it's just gripping me in a little bit. And all it needed was the thing to adjust itself, and you either persevere by breaking it in, or if you go to somewhere where it's trained, and I know we had a lady this morning that had decided that she was going to buy something mail order, and she didn't realise that she ended up with a helmet that was perhaps 2 or 3 sizes bigger. It certainly fit her, and she luckily had one of those heads where she could take the bump on the back, probably was a little bit more defined, so the helmet was gripping, so it wasn't quite as big a safety issue as you were. But she's ending up with a helmet so much bigger than she needed, because she was ending up with a helmet that much bigger. Okay, so, and now what happens is, as we can settle this in, because the way that the helmets actually work is that when you get pressure on your head expands. And because it expands, it becomes tighter. And so therefore it expands more, because there's more pressure. So you get that vicious circle going on. And of course the way to break that vicious circle is you just take the helmet off, right? Your head loses the pressure, your head shrinks back again. But where the pressure point was, the helmet's given, and is actually molded to the shape. So that's why you find that as you're putting it on, that the helmets will actually adjust. And that's why we always need that snug, firm fit. So, like we said yesterday, of course, adjusting the harness is really important on this. And I must say, today's set of riders, it was so much better. They obviously, you know, they're a smart bunch you have here. Okay, so what we're looking for is to adjust it. So what we want to do is we want to have it just so that we can have a finger width. Okay, sounds okay?
Yeah, good.
And if you have the one with the metal buckle here, just a little quick tip, I can just turn you there, and okay, when you actually want to undo this, okay, if you lift out the bottom of the buckle out and twist, it becomes much more easy. Whereas if you push it onto the face, what can happen is it can lock up. If you lift the bottom of the buckle out and twist it off, it becomes much more easy. So, okay, so we've got the bit underneath the chin, and now if we can turn you around again, now we're looking at this back bit. And this is the bit that a lot of people never get to adjust, is the back of the helmet. Stores really should be looking at adjusting the bag, but often by the time they've found you the right helmet, they're feeling like you're starting to become impatient, and so they sometimes forget about the fact they just expect you to read the fitting instructions and to do this yourself, and of course you need obviously help. So if we adjust the back of this, and then we do a double pull over, and that you can feel actually starts to grip. And it makes a huge difference to the feel of the helmet is by actually having it grip at the base. It's gripping at the base of the skull. And then we just do a good tight knot and a little bow to actually get grated off. And of course, when we're looking at it, I can just turn you sideways and we're wanting to make sure when you're actually adjusting this, this bag strap should just be a little bit of tension there, not too much. Because if sometimes people adjust these and they end up like this, and of course you can see what happens is I'm now actually pulling it into the neck and the throat.
Facelift, that's a good.
Right, so it looks like that we've actually got you all set up for the helmet.
You should check the strap.
Okay, all right, okay, let me just do that.
Please. You don't, while you're here, take advantage of it.
It's all that talking. You know what happens is that's actually with the rubber band that we have here. The rubber band should be up against the buckle, because what we do is when we chatter, what happens, we tighten the strap and we release it, and that constant tightening and loosening ends up with the strap feeding itself through. Okay, so we call it micro slippage in the technical. Just the back of it. The back.
See, this is the main reason I have Roy come, is to fit my helmet. That's
right. And it's amazing that the back bit and adjusting it, the back of the head is often where we judge the fit of the helmet. So by actually having it tight, not only are you having it more secure, but your body, your actual head tells you that you're actually more secure and more comfortable. And there's nothing worse than having a helmet that feels like it's perched on the top of your head. You know, it just feels like it's totally unbalances you and stops you.
right, or landing off the jumps and people having to adjust it. I can't stand that.
That's right, yeah. The number of times you go to a competition, and every time somebody does a jump, they lift their helmet up so they can see.
Yeah.
I know some of the eventers on cross country, sometimes they do that just because they don't want to see the next fence coming. And they think, do you know what, the horse can do it so much better than me, I'll just hang in there and let it do the job. Right, so.